Hey, we're going to start a new series this month. Every year during TFC, we talk about something. And we just, I'm a huge Marvels nerd. Okay, I love Marvel's movies. I think they're amazing. Yeah, apparently there's comics too, but that's no one reads, right? But I love heroes, and so as we started thinking about what do we want to talk about, there's a couple people in the Bible that I want us to look at for reference of what a hero looks like, right? Of what a hero can be. And so for you guys, especially in this world where just life seems crazy, and oftentimes, like, you don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to, or you can. I don't care. You guys do whatever you want anyways. But how many of us oftentimes feel like we don't have enough? And I don't mean like enough stuff. I mean like you don't have what it takes to do something. I feel like that all the time. And I know for some of you, you're like, what? You feel that way? Yes, I feel that way all the time. Okay? There's so many times in my life where I feel that way. Like I remember, okay, this is going on online. You guys are going to make fun of me for this. But when I was younger, okay, I was really into dancing. Hang on. You said, of course. I don't know what that means. And I was really into like theater and like acting. Yeah, I know. I loved it. It was a ton of fun. And so when I grew up in Oregon when I was a kid, and so I was in like these like local theater production things. And there was one year where it was, I don't even remember what it was called, and I couldn't think of it, but you remember the Santa movie where it's like the Heat Miser versus Jack Frost? Do you guys remember that one? It's like the old like claymation video or whatever. Yeah. It's like always on like around Christmas time, like on like every channel, whatever. Okay, well this one, so it was that story, and I got cast as the Heat Miser. And if you remember who the Heat Miser is the guy who brings all the what? The heat. There you go. So he doesn't like the snow. He tries to fight it. Jack Frost brings the blizzards and the snow and all that stuff. So anyway, so I was cast as that. And I honestly, to this point, could not tell you any of my lines. I have no idea what the purpose of me being on the stage was, okay? But here's what I do remember, okay? I love dance, but I was not good at dance, okay? I think many of you are with me on that, okay? Many of your leaders are with me on that, okay? But I love dancing, and so for me, I was a Heat Miser, and my scene was coming up, okay? And we had rehearsed it, and I knew the lines and everything, but then there's this part, if you remember in the movie, where he sings this song, and he goes, I'm Mr. Heat Miser, I'm Mr. Sun, right? That song? You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay. And so it's that time, and when we rehearsed it, I would just like walk around, and I was like, oh, I'm Mr. Heat, right? Like that was just me, and I had like red hair. I got asked to grow my hair out for as long as I can, and you're going to see it turns into like an afro. It's like super curly. So that was just turned red. I was in this like all red, like super tight jumpsuit for some reason, and it just was super awkward for me. But I started going, and all of a sudden I was like, you know what? Jack Frost is coming up after me. There's all these people here to watch. How can I top him? So I forget everything I rehearsed, forget everything I practiced, and I go out there and I start breakdancing. And I'm like the robot. And man, in my head, I am killing it. And then we got home, and my mom had the video of what happened. And trust me, we watched it several times and pointed out all of my flaws. And in that moment, I realized, yikes. I thought I had what I needed to make this the grandiose performance that it should have been for 30 parents in a tiny gym. But I didn't. And from that moment forward, no joke, I remember this stuck with me. I got made fun of so bad by my sisters, okay? My mom was like, oh, it's so cute. I'm like, shoot it, right? And I was just mad. And from that moment forward, no joke, I remember this, that kind of led me to believe that, in my head, I thought I had what I needed, right? I really believed it, but from then on, I started questioning if I had what it took to do things, right? I questioned so many times. Like when I got to junior high, my youth pastor taught me how to play guitar and drums, and I just never felt like I was good enough to play like in the youth band. I just didn't. I never thought I had what it took. When I played sports, I always thought I was just a bench player. I was never good enough. In high school, I wrestled and I played baseball, and I never felt like I was good enough. It just that went with me through my life, and it's still there's part of me now, not that story because I can laugh about it now. But I look back and go, man, I really thought I had everything I needed, but then I quickly realized I didn't. But I let a moment fool me into thinking that I would never have what it took. I let a moment fool me into thinking that for the rest of my life, I'll never have what it takes, even if I think that I do. And the problem with that thinking is that there are so many times where you do have what it takes. But the truth is, there's also genuinely a lot of times where we actually don't, right? Where it is like me trying to dance, where I actually don't have what it takes. However, in those moments of trial and struggle where we feel like we're not good enough and we see that I don't have the ability in myself, there is a place that you can turn. There's a person you can turn to, and that's our God. And I know for some of you, if it's your first time here, I'm super excited you're here. What we want to do during this series of I Need a Hero is we just want to break down some of these incredible stories from the Bible that if you haven't heard them before, man, these are good. If you have, I hope I bring a new light to them for you. But I want us to think about this. In the moments where we really feel like and know that I don't have enough on my own, I want us to understand that you still can be a hero and do great things when you rely and trust in God. When you look to God and say, God, I don't have enough, but I know that you can give me what I need, life looks different. And we can do incredible things, right? Even think about this. For TOC, anybody bring a friend tonight? Raise your hand if you are that friend. Nice, okay. For some of you, inviting somebody to TOC is a monumental task and would take a hero, would take somebody better than you. You don't have what it takes to even invite somebody, right? Anybody feel that way? Don't raise your hand. You can if you want to. That's fine. I felt that way a lot too. But in those moments where you feel like I can't talk right, I don't act right, I'm not going to say that, blah, blah, whatever you can fill in the blank with, when you look to God and say, God, I don't know how to bring friends to church, I don't know how to tell people about the God that I believe in, God will give you the tools and resources that you need. And so this week, I want to dive into one of the coolest stories towards the beginning of the Bible. You're going to turn your Bible, if you've got it on your phone or your notes, to the book of Exodus. And we're going to talk about a guy named Moses. Okay? Many of you have heard the story of Moses. It's a really long story. We're not even going to get into, let's say, the good parts, right? There's a lot of good parts. Don't quote me on that. But there's some great parts later when Moses, parts the Red Sea and he takes the Israelites to the Promised Land, all those things, right? And he's leading them in that direction, right? I want to go to the beginning of the story. I want to go to the beginning where before Moses becomes the hero, he faces a moment where he goes, I'm not good enough. And God says, you're right. But you're the one I've chosen, and let me give you what you need to be the right person. Okay, so we're going to go to Exodus chapter 2. And again, we're going to start at the beginning of Moses' life. I'm going to kind of read parts and then summarize other parts and walk us through this. And I'm really excited, as you can tell, I'm talking kind of fast. This is one of my favorite stories. And over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about different people, and it's going to be so good. So if you've got your notes, write these things down. If I say something smart, just quote me and tell everybody I said it, so that way they know I'm smart too. But bring notes, bring a pen every week. Because of COVID, we don't want to hand out pens because we got to clean them all, and someone's going to stick it up their nose, 8th grade boys. And that's gross. So, Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. Are you ready? Can I get a yeehaw if you're ready? Can I get an arg if you're ready? No. Okay. Ruby is just on fire today. Okay, here we go. Here's what it says. Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. This is the beginning before Moses was here. It says this. Now, a man of the tribe of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. Guess who that son is? Crazy. Not Levi. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed the child in it and put him among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. Now, here's what's happening. Back then, they couldn't keep their baby boys. Okay, so they had to find what they were doing. So they tried to hide him for as long as they could. But as you know, babies, as they get older, they start to make more noise and their poops smell more. So people are like, I can smell a baby, right? If you come to my house, don't open the trash can because I guarantee you there's a poopy diaper in it, okay? Not from me, okay? It's from my kid. But so what's happening is they had this baby, right? And so all of a sudden they couldn't keep the baby hidden anymore. So if we want to talk briefly about a different hero, this is Moses' mom. And here's what happens. She knows that she has to let the baby go and hope for the best and hope that God, the God of Israel, can keep her baby safe. So she takes a papyrus basket, puts tar and pitch, which basically tries to like waterproof the basket on the bottom so it can float. And then she puts the baby in it, and along the bank of the Nile, she lets him go. Now, here's the crazy thing about this. Again, this is a tangent side note, but I just want you to hear another hero that we never talk about. She had to let her baby go in the Nile. And let me tell you, I know oftentimes we think about the Nile, it's like, wow, it's this super smooth river. No. The Nile has hippos, which I know are so cute and cuddly. If you go to the zoo, you think it's a statue under the water because they don't move. And then he's like shakes his ears, right? But they kill things. It's like one of the deadliest animals in the world, right? Which is crazy to think about because they're so cute. But what happens is Moses' mom right here has to let her baby go and pray and hope that her baby is safe. She has to put her baby on this river where anything can happen, crocodiles, hippos, the rapids, like even to whitewater, crazy things where she has to just hope that her baby survives, and she has to put her faith in something other than herself. So for just a moment, that's not our main idea today, but I just want you to know Moses' mom is truly, I tell the story, I'll say it another time, is one of my biggest heroes, because she had to take a moment where I've got kids now. I can't imagine trying to waterproof a basket because I don't even know how to do that, and then let them go in a river and hope for the best and pray and hope that my baby survives. But anyways, so she does that. Then the next part, his sister stood at a distance to see what would happen. Now here's what happens: is Moses goes down the Nile. All of a sudden, he gets to like the palace, right? And then somebody sees him, and she goes, "Wow, what a baby just floating in the river! Like, I'm going to keep it now," which is kind of weird. If you see a baby floating, you should call 911 and find who it belongs to. But she's this baby. And so what's crazy is does anybody know who this person is? Anybody? Pharaoh's daughter. Yeah. So Pharaoh is the king of Egypt, right? And Pharaoh's the one who says you can't have baby boys, got to get rid of them. And so Pharaoh's daughter sees this baby. She says, "Wow, like I'm going to keep it." And so the cool thing here again is she then says, "I want to get it to somebody who can take care of this baby." So she sends the baby to somebody who can care for it, which coincidentally happens to be Moses' own mom, right? So crazy circle story. She raises him for a while, and then once he gets to a certain age, she goes back to live at the palace and then lives a very different life in luxury and in the palace. Now here's what happens. He grows up. We're going to go to verse 11 here. One day after Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Looking this way and that and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. So he sees a Hebrew being beat, and he runs over and he tries to stop it, and he ends up killing this Egyptian guard who is beating this Hebrew person, right? Now you're thinking, how can this guy be a hero if you just killed someone? Well, it's an accident. Things happen, right? And so Moses, then what happens after this is he knows that someone had to have seen, and people know because somebody points out that they saw what he did. So what do you do in times of trouble and struggle? You run. In times where you don't know what to do, we run. Now, maybe it's not physically, maybe for us it's emotionally or whatever, but we run away. And so Moses, very much like us, he's an everyday person who's lived a unique life so far, runs away. He takes off. He tries to hide from the things of the world. Instead of facing them, he runs. And in this season, what happens is he goes and he meets a woman, he starts a family, and things are going good for him in a very different place. But he killed someone. He then ran away from his problems. He then ran away from what he did. And again, you might think to yourself, well, how is this a hero? But I want us to relate Moses so far to our story. How many of us run from the things that we do that we feel like we can't fix? How many of us try to sneak away or hide away when there's something wrong that we feel like there's no coming back from? I think so many of us do that. Maybe it's leaving friends behind because we feel like there's no recovering from what we said. Maybe it's with our parents. We feel like we did too many bad things that there's no turning back. We just got to get away. We can't talk to them. We can't open up. For so many of us, we run away from our problems no different than Moses did. Now, I hope nobody here has killed someone. I hope. 8th grade boys. I'm sure Blake has. Makes sense. But Moses, just like us, he runs away. And we can't really look at him and go, oh my gosh, how could he do that? Because we do the same thing. That's the point I want you guys to get right now. But here's where it gets really, really good. You're going to go to chapter 3, verse 1. Okay, so again, he meets a woman, starts a family, things are starting to turn around for him, and then things are about to get good. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. Okay, so he sees this bush. He sees that it's not actually burning up. It's like on fire, but like it's not getting smaller or going away. So he's like, let me go check out the fire. And back then, they didn't have phones to call people and figure out like what was going on with the fire or call the fire department and like that. So he goes and he checks it out. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I've come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of the land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Now, here's what's happening. Jesus looks at Moses, and Moses turns away because he goes, man, I can't look at God. This is a holy place. I got to take my sandals off. Like, it's when you go to, like, your aunt's house, and no one can wear shoes inside, and it's like, this is sacred carpet, okay? And all of a sudden, he's like, I can't look at God. And part of me looks at this and goes, if I had killed someone, I don't feel like I could, even consider talking to God. But Moses, he looks away and he goes, this is God. This is the one. This is wow. Like, he's just in awe. And he looks away. And God looks at him, and again, you might go, well, he killed somebody. He ran away from his problems. How could God come to him for something? But God sees so much more in him that he says, I want you to go save my people. I want you to go get the Israelites out from the Egyptian rule, okay? So the Israelites were God's people, and the Egyptians were owning them as slaves. And he says, I'm going to take them to a land of milk and honey. Now, for some of you, you go, milk and honey, who cares? You're going to mix them together? That's gross. But no, milk and honey, those are good things, right? That's what, milk we need to survive. Honey is so sweet. It's amazing. So God is saying, I'm going to take them to this promised land. I'm going to take this to this incredible place, and I want you to do it. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. Now, if let's say your hero, let's say your favorite athlete, your favorite teacher even, your favorite musician, your favorite whatever comes to you and says, I want you to come do this. I want you to play on my team. I want you to come on stage with me, whatever that looks like. How many of you are like, oh, yeah, I'm in? Realistically, we're probably going to find a reason why we're not good enough to be on the same field or stage or whatever with that person, right? And again, I want us to relate to Moses. Moses did the same thing right here. God is saying, I want you to go. I want you to go get my people away from the Egyptians, and I want you to bring them to this land. I'm putting this on you. You're the guy. I'm picking you. But Moses knows what has happened in his life. Moses knows who he is. And Moses says, I don't know. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you. And this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. So again, what is the first thing he does? Does he say, yeah, I'm in? Like, of course. No, he says, who am I? I'm not a hero. I'm not the best person for this job. Well, why would you pick me? There's got to be somebody. Like, what do I have to bring to the table? I ran from my problems. Not me. But what does God say? He says, go, and I will be with you. You see, God picks somebody who maybe you'd look at and say isn't special. He picks somebody and you go, well, maybe doesn't have what it takes. He did the wrong things. He's not perfect, just like me. But God says, go, and I will be with you. And so many times in life, when it comes to inviting friends to church, when it comes to just living the life that you were called to live in the right way, when you're called to talk to somebody about who Jesus is, you go, I could never do that. Oh my goodness, can you imagine me? But God says, I am with you. God doesn't say, go do these things on your own. God says, I am with you. And so many times we doubt, but God is right there. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of our father has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. Other translation says, I am. I am. This is so profound for God to say because he could describe himself in a million different ways. But think about this. For us, If you're describing, me, go TJ is, and you're going to fill in the blank with something. But God says, I am, period. I am, period. That's it, right? Like, I am. He's saying, whatever you could think of, I am. I created the sun, the moon, the stars, everything. I am here yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I am with you now. I am with you tomorrow. I am here. Oh, I am whatever you want to say. I am so much more. So what God's trying to do to Moses is say, hey, listen, I'm going to be with you. And he says, okay, well, who should I call you? I am. I'm everything you'll ever need. I'm everything you could ever imagine. I will provide for you in times where you have nothing. I will provide for you in times where you have everything. In moments where I ask you to do something like go bring my people out of Egypt, I will give you everything you need. I am, period. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is the name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. This is where things start to get a little crazy, right? And so what happens here is in Exodus chapter 4, verse 10. Jesus and God, not Jesus, God and Moses, they kind of go back and forth. They start talking about what's about to happen. And Moses, just like you and me, pushes back even more. Just like you and me, where again, God calls each one of us to do something special. Some of you don't know what it is yet. Some of you have already had moments where you go, man, that was God talking to me and I didn't do it. We're all over the board on that. That's okay. But here's what I want you guys to understand, is that when God calls you to something, oftentimes, because it's God, because he is who he is, because I am, right? So many ways we could describe God. We go, there's no way that I could do that. Have you met me? Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've done? I couldn't do that. And why is that? That's not God speaking to us. We've talked over the past few weeks. God has so many incredible things to say about us and do for us. But here's what Moses says, and this is so similar to us. It says this in chapter 4, verse 10. Moses said to the Lord, pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue. Again, for some of you, here's what's happening. I'm not eloquent. He's saying, I don't have good words. Me no talk right. Okay? He's saying, I can't put this whole sentence thing together. If you're trying to, have a presentation for somebody about who God is, I'm not the guy because I don't know how to use PowerPoint. I don't know how to talk right. I'm going to point at the wrong things. I'm going to say the wrong things. It's not good. No one's going to believe me. They're all going to think I'm just an idiot and I can't figure this whole thing out. For some of us, we can't talk well, right? For some of us, we don't say the right things. That's me. Right? I know I come up here all the time and I talk to you guys, but there's so many times in life where I just don't say the right thing. I put my foot in my mouth, whatever. So he's saying, I don't talk no good. So verse 11, it says this. The Lord said to him, who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. Now for some of you, you go, well, how can he just do that? How can he just make you say the right things? Right? If we're free people, how can he do that? Well, what's happening here in this story, which is really cool, is at this moment right now, if Moses says, all right, I'm in, there's already a plan in place that he doesn't even know about. And so he could have just said, all right, God, I trust you, I'm in. And there was something already happening way over here that would have worked out for him and made sure that he had what he needed. But instead of saying yes, he pushes back. In 13, but Moses said, pardon your servant, Lord, please send someone else. So he has already said, I'm not a good speaker, I shouldn't do this, surely there's somebody else. And God says, I'm going to give you what you need. Shut your face. Let's do this. But Moses, being a human being just like us, where we push back against God and against people and we don't want to listen because we don't think we're good enough, we find another excuse and another excuse. It's like when your parents say, hey, go clean your room. And you're like, oh, but I'm so tired. And they're like, okay, take a nap. And you wake up and you're like, and I'm hungry. And you eat and they're like, and I'm gassy. Right? And you just keep finding other excuses of why you can't clean your room, why you can't do what your parents asked you to do. I know you do it. I do it sometimes at my house with my wife. I'm like, I'm so hungry. And she's like, okay, you're a man. Stop. But so again, in verse 13, he says, but Moses said, pardon your servant, Lord, being so respectful, so polite. Please send someone else. Pushing back, saying, I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. I can't do this. Find somebody else. There's somebody better. It's not me. I'm bad. I killed somebody. Whatever. You just fill in the, you just keep going. And this is where it gets good. Okay, ready? Verse 14. Here we go. First sentence, I would be very terrified. Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses. Yikes. If there's one person you don't want to make angry, is God. Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, what about your brother Aaron, the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you. Pause. Stop right here. Remember where I said a second ago, if he had just said yes, there was already a plan in place over here? Well, it says that Aaron was already on his way. Meaning that God didn't say, now Aaron's coming to you. Okay, I'll make sure that I'm going to do this for you now. No. He says, bro, listen, I already had a plan, but you keep saying you're not good enough. You keep saying you can't do it. I'm telling you, you'll have everything you need when you get there. Just go. Just do it. But we continue to push and say it's not us, but we don't understand that God has a bigger plan for us that's already in the works. He is already on his way to meet you, which means there's already a plan in place. It was already happening. And he will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth and as if you were God to him. But take the staff in your hand so you can perform the signs with it. You see, in the midst of us pushing back against God and going, I can't be a hero, I'm not good enough. Did you see what I did last week? Did you see how I talked to my family? Did you see how I talked to my teachers? Did you see what I did there? Or the friends I have? There's no way I'm good enough. If you would stop for a moment and just trust that God is in control and that God has a plan, there's things waiting for you to give you the tools that you need. For TOC, when we say invite your friends and you go, man, I don't know how to talk to them. I'm going to sound dumb. They're not going to believe me. They're going to think this is crazy. Trust that your God, if he's put it in your life, to go talk to them, to go tell them about who Jesus is, to go get them to church. If that's the plan that God has put in front of you, he's going to give you all the tools that you need to make it happen. Maybe it's somebody to come alongside you, like your small group, and invite people with you. Who knows? But what we're called to do is when we are asked to be a hero by God, I'm going to invite the band back up. We're called to be a hero, to do something incredible. Don't question it. Don't go, I'm not good enough. God, why would you pick me? God picked you because he sees more than our small eyes and our small minds can see. We see right now, God sees past it. God sees all things at all times. God is everywhere, is putting a plan together that we don't understand. So just like Moses, where he goes on, continue to read in Exodus, he's an incredible guy, and where he becomes the hero as he goes to Pharaoh, and he speaks with him, with his brother Aaron, and he does some incredible things, shows some signs. Then there's 10 plagues that come through because they don't believe who God is, and then Moses gets them out of Egypt, crosses the Red Sea, does incredible things with the power of God. And we look at Moses and we see, wow, what a hero. Because Israel needed a hero. But you see, Moses didn't believe that that was him. Moses didn't think that he could live up to that. Moses didn't think that he had what it took. He said, please, Lord, send somebody else, anybody else. And God says, dude, listen, come here. Aaron is already on the way. I already am giving you everything you could need to do this. I just need you to trust and go. I just need you to trust and take that step. I just need you to trust and know that I'm with you and I'm not abandoning you. You see, for Moses to become the hero, he had to get past himself. For Moses to become the hero and to change lives and to get people to a better place and to take care of people the way that God had planned, he had to get past himself and his own abilities and his own lacking thereof. So what I want to challenge you guys to do is this. The next time you feel like you're not good enough, look to God. When God challenges you to talk to somebody this month, to bring them to church, or tell them about what you believe in, or to change the life that you live, know that you have what it takes. And if you don't, God's going to give it to you. When you feel like you're not good enough, know that God will give you what you need to be good enough. Right now we're going to go into a time of worship. But I want you to remember this. Even in the moments where you feel like you're not good enough, know that you might not be, but God will give you what you need to be.